Hey everybody, Bill Phillips here. It is time for the 9-minute Phill-Up. It is a Wednesday. It is the middle of a heat wave. Well, it's technically not a heat wave yet. It has to be 3 consecutive days of 90 plus degrees. We're in day number 2 in the Ohio Valley of a heat wave. Day number 3 should come tomorrow, and then we should tack some more days on. We might have a week where it's just full of a heat wave. And Karen, good morning. Morning to Karen. Good morning, everybody. Karen, thanks for joining us. As always, greatly appreciated. Hopefully, we will have a day full of comments and questions. And it's a day for me that, we talk about the heat wave, and hopefully everybody has an opportunity to get into some air conditioning, maybe into a pool. Maybe I always love running through sprinklers, or just taking the hose, dumping it right over your head. Just get the cold water, And I know you're not supposed to drink out of the hose from the house because of the hose and the rubber in it and all that stuff. It's supposed to not be good for you. But hey, when you were a kid, it was like, I need a drink. And then and it was nice. It was so cold. It was always so cold out of the hose. Loved it. Loved it. So if you have an opportunity to, stay cool somehow, maybe some popsicles, some frozen fruit, frozen towels, use them and go from there. But the biggest, it's a huge loss for the sports world, for America, for Major League Baseball. One of the all-time great players, arguably the greatest all-around player of all time. Willie Mays passes away at the age of 93. The Say Hey Kid passing amongst family and friends yesterday. He's 93 years old. He was Rookie of the Year back in, I believe it was 1951. He has won a World Series championship in 54. And of course, that's where his iconic catch comes from when he played for the New York Giants before they moved to San Francisco. And Buster Olney for ESPN, I heard this morning. Now, if you think of the iconic catch, basically, Willie Mays is in center field at Ebbets Field, and the ball goes up over his head. Or no, it was the Polo Grounds. I believe it was Polo Grounds. So because they were at home, Ebbets Field's Dodgers Field, Polo Grounds back then, that was where the New York Giants played. So the ball gets hit. It goes over his head. He turns around and on a dead sprint, basically looks up over his shoulder and literally catches the ball. So if home plate is you, he's running away from you like this, and he looks up and comes up with a catch and then thinks to himself, and I've seen the interviews with him where he just thought, how am I going to get this ball back into the infield because there's runners on base? And he whirls and throws it back. It's one of the most amazing plays in baseball history. Maybe it's arguably the greatest play in baseball history. And Buster Olney of ESPN, I thought, had a pretty good idea. You have the NBA logo. It's Jerry West, the silhouette of Jerry West dribbling the basketball. Major League Baseball basically has a head, looking like this profile of a hitter with a helmet on, and you can't tell who it was supposed to be or anything like that, and a bat coming up, or at least that's the last one I remember. And he said maybe, what they should do is make the Willie Mays catch, the silhouette, the Major League Baseball logo, because as soon as you would see that, if you have any knowledge of Major League Baseball history, you're probably going to recognize that catch right away. Willie Mays played for over 20 years. He made 24 All-Star games. 24. I mean, it's just, he was one of those guys that if you had an opportunity to see in person, you wanted to go and see him. And I mean, we can talk about the stats, and the stats are, simply amazing. Won a World Series in 54. His famous catches we were just talking about, that was part of that. He had 12 gold gloves. 12 gold gloves playing center field. I mean, you have, if you're a center fielder, you've got to cover some ground. You've got to make some plays. But I think the greatest thing with Willie Mays, who had 660 home runs. So he had the power. I think when he retired, he was he might have been he was in the top 3, I think, anyways, for home runs. Had over 3,000 hits. He had 3,200 hits, and he just flat out could play. If you wanted a stolen base, he'd steal a base. If you wanted him to throw someone out in the field, he'd throw him out in the field. If you wanted him to hit for power, hit for average, and his statistics are simply amazing. He was inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame back in 1979, and it's in all the years he played, he struck out, just to throw this out there, 1,526 times. But I mean, that's really not that much. And then they have they do the polls and everyone gives their opinions and everything. One of the things that uh, let's see, one of the things that they talked about, Willie Mays or Babe Ruth, who was the greatest player. ESPN put out a survey, and they listed Mays as the second greatest player all time behind Babe Ruth. Now, Babe Ruth, when he was in his younger part of his career, he pitched, and he was a sensation as a pitcher as well. Linda, hello. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. And so he was a pitcher. They put him behind Ruth. Ruth was a home run leader when he retired. Bill James, who's a baseball historian, he had Mays third behind Ruth, Honus Wagner, and then it was Willie Mays. Any way you slice it, in terms of playing, he was at the front of the line as one of, if not the greatest player. And if you want to say he was the greatest player of all time, I don't think you get an argument from most people in terms of all around play, what he did on defense, what he did on offense. But the great thing is, and I remember this as a kid. Now I didn't get to see Willie Mays when I was a teenager or anything like that, but I do remember the end of his career when he played for the Mets. And people would talk about, well, he wasn't the same player he was. Well, he'd been playing for 25 years. Plus, he had played in the Negro Leagues before he played in Major League Baseball. And how about this? He played when he was in high school, and he was playing in the Negro Leagues, getting paid. And basically, they made a deal where he had to go to school during the week, and then on the weekends he'd play. And then when summertime came and he was out of school, he'd play the whole week. And he was 16, 17 years old. So he was playing against grown men. He's 16 or 17. He's the best player out there. And then of course, he went into Major League Baseball, played for the New York Giants. Of course, the New York Giants moved to San Francisco. The San Francisco Giants have him out there. They have a statue now at their field. And then he came back and finished his career with the New York Mets. And I remember seeing him with the Mets. And let's see. Ron, hello. MLB, Major League Baseball, needs a modern, fresh Clemente number, should be retired. Rose needs to be in the Hall of Fame. I agree. Mays' catch should be the emblem for Major League Baseball. All good points. A lot of people, the Clemente number should be retired across the league. A lot of people want that. You have Jackie Robinson, who broke the color barrier. His number is retired across the major leagues. The Clemente number being retired has been talked about for years now, and it just doesn't seem to have the traction it needs to get it done for whatever reason. He's a great representative of Latin ball players, but Major League Baseball has not decided to do that. And Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame, Ron, it's not going to happen. It is not going to happen, especially Shoeless Joe Jackson. He gambled on baseball. Pete Rose gambled on Major League Baseball. You walk into if this is a Major League Baseball clubhouse, I walk into the clubhouse. Oh, what's here? What's on the list of do's and don'ts? Big sign. Do not wager on Major League Baseball. Don't do it. And I know I was talking to nobody over here, but it's a don't do it. And he did it. And I know when he played, they say he didn't gamble when he played, but he gambled as manager. They banned him. And now with the way everything is going, they just banned. I can't think of the guy's name. Played for the Pirates a little bit. It was played for the Padres. They just banned him for life, and he was like a 4-year player, and now he's betting. And because baseball is tied in, Major League Football, baseball, NBA has banned people for life now with gambling. It just is not going to happen. Pete Rose is not going to get in there. Does he deserve to go in as a player? Absolutely. He's all-time hits leader. Does he deserve to go in for, and he has that hanging over him, the betting? No. You're not going to put Shoeless Joe Jackson. It's just not going to happen. Didn't mean to get sidetracked there. But Mays, I agree with you, should be the emblem of Major League Baseball. I think it is a great idea. So that is something to think of. But one of the things that always impressed me about Willie Mays, always, because when I was a kid, and I grew up in Connecticut, so I grew up a Yankees fan, and the Yankees were terrible when I started to like them. The reason I liked them, I went to a game, and they were playing the Red Sox. And I think I was about 5 years old, and my dad somehow got tickets, and we were sitting in the upper deck. And I kept saying to my dad, because I didn't know the teams yet. And I said, well, who do I root for? Do I root for the Yankees or the Red Sox? And I'd ask him all week because I knew we were going to the game. And he kept saying, Billy, it doesn't matter to me. I'm a Dodgers fan. They left and they went to LA and the whole thing. And so I remember there was a guy sitting behind us. And I just remember saying to my dad, right, they're taking the field. I still haven't decided who I'm going to root for. And we're in Yankee Stadium, the old Yankee Stadium, where the monuments were still up in the outfield. And I remember hearing this voice behind me. I asked my dad, and there was a brief pause, and I heard this guy, kid, you're in Yankee Stadium. You root for the Yankees. And I went, okay. And he says to me, he goes, want some gum? And I went, okay. And got a piece of gum, watched the game, and that's why I became a Yankees fan. Now, if I had gone to Fenway Park first, because where I grew up, it was literally 2 hours to New York, 2 hours to Boston. If I had gone to Fenway Park first, forget about it. Just that place is just ridiculous. The first time I ever went in there, I didn't get to go until I was about 20, 21 years old. I was in college working at the NBC affiliate in Connecticut as an intern / producer. And I suggested a story that we do how the game, because it was cable TV was relatively new still then. How does the game get from the stadium to the cable provider to get to your house? So we went up into the store, and I remember walking up into the right field seats, and there's Fenway Park. And I'm looking at home plate, and it was a little misty day in New England, and everybody had ponchos on. They were all different colors, literally looked like a rainbow of colors in the stands. And Roger Clemens is on the mound, and Ricky Henderson's leading off of first base. He throws over the whole thing. You're looking at the green monster. It's so green. And I'm just standing there going, this might be the greatest place in the entire world. And Yankee Stadium, I love Yankee Stadium, but I walked into Fenway and thought, man, this is something. So if you are a baseball fan and you ever have that, hey, I want to just travel around, see some ballparks, get to Fenway Park. And people say, it's Boston, it's this, that. It's a great place to watch ball game. It is a fantastic place. And now they have the seats out on the Green Monster. They didn't have that when I was growing up, but that's one of the things they have. But I digress. Anyway, so living where I did, Willie Mays was basically 2 hours away playing for the Mets. The Mets, they had some decent teams in the early 70s, made some runs. But I remember people talking about he wasn't the same player, but he was towards the end of his career. But the thing I always remember, whenever he was on TV, whenever they had, and back then you didn't have cables. You didn't get to see game after game after game. You basically saw the game of the week. It was on Saturdays. My routine on Saturdays during the summer when I was a kid, go down, play the Little League game, win. Yeah. Hackett Electric, baby. Hackett Electric. Yeah, the power of Farmington Little League. Hackett Electric. John Robinson, one of the greatest managers, coaches of baseball, any level you would ever want. He was absolutely sensational as a coach. I can't remember the man raising his voice, but every time he said something, you paid attention and you did exactly what he wanted you to do because it was just the right thing to do, the way he coached, the way he treated people. Absolutely fantastic. But the routine was we would go down, win the championship. I'm not bragging. Coach Robinson, he stayed. His son played for him, and then he enjoyed it so much he stayed for a few more years after that. I think he racked up like 10 straight Little League championships, which is, I had 4. My brother was on the team for 3. It was Hackett Electric. So you play for Hackett Electric, you go and have your game, and then you get on I would either have my bike or I'd just walk home. And I would ride back to the house. And the game of the week started at 1:00 on NBC. And because New York is a big TV market, Boston's a big TV market, it seemed like we always had the Red Sox or Yankees playing every once in a while, the Mets. And you'd see Willie Mays every once in a while. And he just seemed like he had so much fun playing baseball. Just loved it. Loved the competition. Loved everything about it. And they call him to say, hey, kid, because, there's a couple of different stories that he would just say, hey, and he would talk to people, and maybe if he didn't remember, hey, and he was just always on the move. So people would talk to him, and he would give them the hey. So they just started calling him to say, hey, kid, and absolutely tremendous. And one of my prized possessions when I was a kid, The bat was too big for me. I had two bats. It was back still when you could use a wooden bat in Little League. Um, I had I believe it's an Adirondack bat, and it was a 33-inch long bat. It was it had a blue uh, ring around the top of the handle, and then it went up, and it was a Willie Mays autograph bat. Couldn't use it in the games, too big to use. It was too big at that time. But that was the thing. It was like using the Willie Mays bat, the Willie Mays bat. Now, the bat I used didn't make any sense. I had a 29-inch bat, and it was same style, but it was a Tom Seaver bat. Now, Willie Mays is one of the greatest positional players of all time in Major League Baseball. Tom Seaver went to the Hall of Fame as a pitcher, not a hitter, but back then they used to hit. So I guess they said, well, this is the Tom Seaver model bat. So I had that one. I used that one. And now I use that. I remember that this is why do I remember this stuff? Jordan is looking at me, why do you remember this? So, and we're going to get to Jordan's point, which is go Oilers, go. The Edmonton Oilers. But anyways, yeah. So I used that bat in the tryout for Hackett Electric. And I was 9 years old. And I remember I'd broken the bat. So my dad put a screw in the middle of the bat to hold it together. And then we taped around it. Because we didn't have the money to go get another bat, and I still like the bat, so made the team, and but the prized possession was that Willie Mays bat. That bat didn't stay out in the weather. That bat came inside. That bat came into my bedroom. That bat just stayed in the corner, and then you take it back out. Now we used I choked up a bunch and used it for like wiffle ball or tennis. We hit tennis balls, but Willie Mays, wow, just what a career. Served and he lost 2 years in Korea. He went and served for the United States. Now he says he played a lot of baseball while he was in service as they were trying to pump up morale. I remember when they gave us a full-size baseball bat on giveaway. Yeah, giveaway day. You go to the stadium back in the day, and they would give you a baseball bat, and it was an actual full-size baseball bat. And then they went, oh wait, people are hitting each other in the stands after these games. So then they went to the little mini bats with the logo on it. But yeah, they used to give you a full-size bat. That was a huge day to go to a game. So Willie Mays, I'll tell you what, I'm fortunate that I can say that I got to see him play a little bit. I didn't get to see him during the prime of his career. I've seen video, but when he talks, he's just so positive, and he just seems like he would have been absolutely fantastic to have an opportunity to watch every day. And I'm sure people had season tickets, just loved it. And here's the other thing about Willie Mays, and maybe why he isn't ahead of Babe Ruth or Honus Wagner for some people on their list. And Indians, yeah, absolutely. Indians love the Indians. Frank Robinson. How about Frank Robinson playing for the Indians back in the day? Came over from the Reds. Then he played for the Indians, and he managed the Indians. He's really the first guy that I remember from them. But then, of course, Mike Hargrove and the human rain delay. He would come up to the plate. He'd be fixing his glove. And it would take him 10 minutes to get in the batter's box. And then everyone's like, well, why does it take so long for Major League Baseball games? And Mike Hargrove's the nicest guy I'd ever want to meet. He is super. But, man, did he take a long time to get in the batter's box. Let's see. Oh, we got Ralph checking in. Big Ralph. Best Indian history was the Wild Thing. Absolutely. Vaughn, forget Ricky Vaughn, the reliever in Major League, the movie. Maybe Jake Taylor. A pretty good catcher. But I tell you what, Ricky Vaughn was. Ricky Vaughn. Forget the curveball, Ricky. Throw the heat. So Ralph checking in with some baseball. Ralph knows his baseball. You talk to Ralph about any sport, he'll know about it. And then so we have that, and then what else were we talking about? Oh, Stanley Cup final. Jordan, producer extraordinaire of the 9-Minute Phill-Up, and of course our morning shows at WTOV9. She said yesterday, put it in writing, chiseled it into concrete, and said, if the Oilers win last night, which they did in a tight one, but they won 5-3, correct? 5-3. I've got that right. 5-3. She says they will come back and win the series in 7. They'll come back from an 0-3 deficit and win. And I'll tell you what, if you were the Florida Panthers, you are very nervous right now because Connor McDavid, wow. He's the best player in the world, and he is. I mean, he's showing up throughout the entire playoffs, but now all of a sudden, the assists are also getting goals along with them. So he is absolutely on fire right now. They go back to Edmonton. I would not bet against the Oilers in Game 6. This is going to come down to a Game 7 for sure. And Jordan says, "Mark it down. Oilers are going to win it." So you have that. So we have that going on. We've got some. Oh, we got some more comments. We have. Okay. McDavid Magic. All right. Wait. Oh, it was the glasses for me. Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. They have the skull and crossbones right between the eyes on the skull and crossbones. Let's see. McDavid Magic. Oilers going all the way. They're winning the cup. There you go. Jordan is on it for the Edmonton Oilers. So that is going to about do it for us today. We've gone 22 minutes. I could talk baseball all day. I could talk baseball memories all day. And just, I remember we used to do, now we go back to the Indians. This is a great thing about baseball. When you were a kid growing up, you could imitate everybody's stances. So we would watch our neighborhood. We'd go out and play little wiffle ball. We'd go play wiffle ball. I'm sure kids still do this now. But you go out there, you could do the Mike Hargrove. You get into the box, and it used to irritate the other kids playing wiffle ball because it's like, just get in and hit. But you do all the stances. Willie Stargell with a windmill swing, and you do all that stuff. Ooh, Willie Stargell's story against the Mets real quick. The Mets are home. Fred Fouts, who I mentioned yesterday, who was from Dayton, Ohio, but then came and worked at the Hartford Current newspaper. No, the Hartford Times. I'm sorry. It was the afternoon paper, Hartford Times. He got tickets for us to go to Shea Stadium to see the Mets. So they were going to take a bus for all the newspaper guys or the paper boys. And so he got tickets for myself, his son, and my brother. So the three of us, and I was the responsible one at 10 or 11 or 12 or whatever it was. But we got on the bus and we went to the game, and the Pirates were playing the Mets. And at some point during the game, my brother got up and walked around the entire stadium without me. And I looked over and I went, "Hey, where's David?" I get a little panicked, but he came back. So that worked out. But Willie Stargell's doing a windmill swing. Bat goes, it comes out of his hands, goes cartwheeling into the seats, hits a guy on the head. I've got nothing against bald guys at all, or anybody that doesn't have it. But it hits the guy on top of the head, and he's bald. It cuts him open. So the thing is, if you've got some hair on your head, it's not going to bleed. It's not going to look as bad. This guy's head was like it was just split open. There was blood all over the place. And we're up in we're like in the middle deck or the mezzanine section, just looking down going, "Is that guy going to make it?" And they came down, they walked him out, and he came back. He had this big bandage on his head and everything, but then he went back and watched the game. And the Pirates were in these, the only way to describe them, like banana yellow uniforms. It was top to bottom. It was all yellow, and it was all like just bright yellow. And I don't remember who won the game, but I remember that point when Willie Stargell just let go of the bat. He didn't mean to, but good thing they have those nets up now. I know a lot of people don't like those nets, but that guy would have been much safer. He wouldn't have been hit in the head with that bat. Oh, what do we got here? We've got some more comments. We're back to the comments. Ken Griffey stance, absolutely legendary. Ken Griffey, a big dude. Saw him at the All-Star game in Pittsburgh. We're walking in the hallway with him. I'm like, man, that is a big guy. But what a player. If Ken Griffey Jr., we're going to be here for an hour. But if Ken Griffey Jr. stays healthy, he had some injuries that were from great plays, jumping into a wall and basically breaks his ankle. You want to talk about the greatest player ever. Ken Griffey Jr. could have been it. He may have been him. And unfortunately, injuries derailed that. But wow, there's so many great players. Here we go. It's 90-minute Phill-Up. Got 40 signatures so far. Let's go. All right, Ron. I'm down with that. Let's go. So anyways, before I keep going and it becomes noon and everyone's wondering, I have to say so long. But and unfortunately, we all had to say so long to the Say Hey Kid, Willie Mays. Just a sensation, an American icon. Just a tremendous baseball player, and from everything that I've ever heard and everything that I've seen, just a tremendous individual. So we wish his family all the best in their time of time of loss as they lose Willie Mays. But Willie Mays dies at the age of 93 yesterday, and we just remember him today. Remember other baseball stories. So, again, thank you for joining us. And please, if you can, join us again tomorrow. We're here every day about 10 o'clock, about the same time. And then, of course, you can watch it on the X. You can watch it on Facebook. You can watch it all over the place. And Ron is on campaign for the 90-minute Phill-Up. And, Ron, we can't thank you enough for that. The Bill Phillips can be a pre-show for the news. I'm down with that, Ron. Ron's got a lot. Ron is an idea man. Idea man. Diane Macedonia checking in. Great show. I think you're a little biased on that, or maybe not. And Diane, I appreciate it. Diane's going, Bill, please stop. It's too much. No, actually, Diane's a baseball fan. She likes her baseball. You know what Diane likes? Big tennis fan. Big tennis fan. Well, maybe we'll talk tennis tomorrow. We could have Diane as a special guest. Tennis. She is down with the tennis. So, Diane, thank you for checking in. We're going to leave it at that. We're going to leave it a great show with Diane. Diane, thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. All right, remember 2 rules, everyone. Have fun and always try your best. Thanks for being here. See you next time.